questions for the administration tonight? Councilor Sanchez.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have a question for our staff or the administration regarding some of the work that is being done, and maybe you can answer this, Mr. Reardon. The Albuquerque-Bernalillo County Water Utility Authority has started work on the art project on West Central. And they did go out and talk to some of the businesses, but this week it seems like the entire community is in turmoil by some of the work that's going on and some of the nightmares that's created with some of the traffic. What can we do to try to mitigate some of those problems? They've already started to tear out the intersections where the buses will be going, but there's two projects going on at one time, and I don't think that the word was put out there that we've actually got the Yucca Central project going on, along with some of the mediums being torn out. I mean, how are we going to try to mitigate some of those issues? Because it's started really last week, and this week I'm getting a tremendous number of calls and people coming into my office questioning, what's going on and why is this happening? And, people can't access their neighborhood in many cases.
Mr. President, Councilor Sanchez, thanks for the question. The Water Utility Authority had a long-range plan to replace the water lines. With the project of ART likely coming about, they have decided to go out and start replacing some of those lines now. They have to do that in order for us to be in our own right-of-way when it's time to do our project. So they determined it was the right time for them to meet their schedule to start that construction now. Their barricading plans do need to come to the city for approval, so we can certainly look at those. But at no time should access to all businesses and all neighborhoods need to remain open. Now, it might not be the ideal place where the main entrance to the neighborhood is, but there has to be some road of access to that. And it's our responsibility to make sure the Water Utility Authority allows the businesses and the public to know where those accesses are. So we can look at those if there's specific areas that are not accessible that you're being told, please pass us along, we will get access.
Okay, and I definitely will do so because, again, I'm getting the phone calls, and I just think they did a very poor job in informing the public and the community and the neighborhoods and the businesses with what we're dealing with today. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, Council, any other questions? Okay, we'll go to item 6, the Journal. All right, Councilor Davis.
I'm sorry. Thank you, sir. Quickly, a question for the police chief, or Chief Garcia, if he's here, either one. Chief, I'll start while you're coming. Thank you for joining us. I know you and I had a chance to talk about this earlier, but I just hope we wanted to follow up in public and ask the administration to help us just a little bit and to get your answer on the record because I think it's important. Chief Garcia, I know there's been, the department engages in all kinds of reversals by bust operations to target areas where you receive complaints from our office or in the area command for drug activity in neighborhoods, and one of those in particular has been Central in Pennsylvania for a long time and certainly deserves some attention from our police department. But recently, recently over the last few months, the department's been engaging in some undercover activity there where they've done some arrests that have gotten the attention of some media members because I think the department is doing reversals where there's, if I understand this correctly, is selling small amounts of narcotics back to persons at those locations. I think the concern is that in some of those criminal complaints, it appears that the persons who are being targeted for those operations are persons who don't have the money to pay for the drugs or may have a mental incapacity and may not be fully conscious of what's happening in the operation or those things. I wonder if you can help us tweak that program a little bit to target the folks who are plaguing our neighborhoods with other crimes, with property crimes, who have connections to larger criminal activity than targeting some of our homeless folks who are sort of down and out on their luck and are low-level offenders who otherwise don't appear to have the ability to engage in this were it not for us selling. I know that's a long question, but I wanted to say that because I think you and I had a good conversation, and I wonder if you can help us tweak that program a little bit to target the folks that are having a real serious impact on our neighborhoods and not necessarily our homeless and transient populations who can't without our help engage in that activity.
Yes, Council President and Councilor Davis. Yes, we respond basically to complaints from neighborhood associations and from the area commands, and that's how we hit each individual area that we're going to target for narcotics reversals or regular narcotics operations. On one of the particular ones we did at recently, of the 9 people that were arrested, about 7 of them, I spoke to the lieutenant after our conversation, 7 of them were involved in property crime offenses in the past. But yeah, I talked to the lieutenant, and we are going to focus more on people who are not necessarily the homeless. With the mentally ill, again, like as we spoke, it's a little different. A lot of people who are under the influence of illicit drugs exhibit a lot of the same behaviors that the mentally ill do. So we're not going to necessarily target any particular population. It's just that anybody, we would like to catch the people who are trying to buy drugs in that area, hopefully from the people coming into that area buying drugs.
And Chief, I appreciate that very much, because it is important to that neighborhood, and I've worked undercover and sold narcotics undercover before. I know how hard it is to do that work and why we do that in that neighborhood. But I do want to point out, I think the community, as much as we appreciate all that work, when we see a criminal complaint where an officer ask a mother to trade her colic medicine for her baby for crack cocaine, even if this person was willing to engage in that conversation, I think the community is responding that there might be better opportunities in that same area to target more higher level offenders and be more responsible with our limited resources. And we appreciate the work that y'all are doing, because it is having an impact in that neighborhood. I drive that way a couple times a week to go to meetings and to see our neighbors there. And it is a better corner and a better neighborhood, and we appreciate all the work y'all are doing there.
Okay, yes, Council President, Council Davis. Yes, the conversation I had, yeah, we'll be sure and definitely direct our efforts to different areas.
Thanks so much.
Not necessarily different areas, but different populations, I'd say.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Chief. I appreciate you coming.
Council